in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good night, everyone, and get ready because it's time for the late chip at the video store.
I have to stop bringing it up, but I just can't because every time that theme song starts playing, I start doing this, and like it starts mouthing all the words. Like it honestly is just one of my favorite theme songs to anything I've seen now. Like it's so good. It just puts us in a good mood, smiles on the face. Mike, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good for what has been an early winter here. So waking up in the morning, a little bit chilly. I'm maybe a little bit late.
For sure, your winters. I don't know what a winter is.
I know, I feel really
Go
bad
walk,
for saying
go
that
walk
to
in a
you.
blizzard
In
like
the
you're in
company
Death
I'm in.
Stranding. Come talk to me after that.
I know, but it's still, it is cold, so it is hard to get out of bed in the morning, so I might be a little late to our pre-show meetings, but still, I have one coffee, that's it. And I'm always happy to be here on a Friday night, my Saturday morning. Hi, hello, hey to everyone. Give us a chat in the comments. We always like to know who we've got here and how the week's going as well. This is a fun topic. Mike, you came to me with the topic this week. What is our topic and how'd you come about it?
Okay, so our topic today is who's your favorite band and why? And it's in honor of one of my nieces who joined the School of Rock program last year based off the movie, and she's been completely killing it. She also just graduated from one of the programs, and now she is singing. Now she is actually the lead guitarist for a new band, so that is awesome in the program. So that is really awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do you remember what songs they played?
They are just learning the songs now. She has to learn about 6 songs.
Yep.
And
that's so awesome.
It's Black Sabbath songs and Dio songs. So that's
gonna be cool.
Yeah.
I remember when that movie came out, like, when did that just like being when did it come out? 05, 04, somewhere around there. So like being teenager and being like that would be just the coolest thing if that was actually real. So it's so great that one movie that maybe seemed a bit silly, it's Jack Black at the time, was like really having real world implications and doing some good positive things out in the world. I think that's just so cool.
Hey, you should know it's about the implication.
Hopefully not. It's regarding children. Mike, who is your favorite band and why?
Oh, well, this was pretty easy. It's growing up, my family used to take a lot of car trips where they just put in a bunch of cassettes. So it was always classic rock. And there was one band in particular that kind of I got attached to, mainly because of my favorite movies like Wayne's World and I forget every movie right now. What the fuck just happened? Wayne's World, Highlander, and
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, I picked Queen because Freddie Mercury's voice was just perfect voice of that, and I love all those fucking songs to death. All the songs are brilliant.
Yeah, Queen is definitely one of my favorite bands growing up. We had the Queen Greatest Hits CD.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The one with the black and the red. That is heavy rotation. I think by the time we left Karratha, like that disc was scratched to shit. Starting with Bohemian Rhapsody, and then track 5 was Bicycle Race. Track 7 is my second all-time favorite song, Don't Stop Me Now. You're My Best Friend, the Flash Gordon theme. Track 15 with We Will Rock You, and then ending with We Are the Champions or something like that. Like it's one of those ones. That's what I miss about like CDs and things like that. It's like you know what tracks, you know what order this was in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Queen definitely heavy rotation in our household as well. This is such a tricky one, and also when you came in with the topic, I'm like, oh, that's perfect because I love what Brooklyn and Bar have been doing on Video Store.
Yes.
With like 500 Stones, and then now onto Off Our Stones, but also with set lists. So I was very fortunate. I've had an episode of the set list, and I talked about my favorite band, Post Malone Jukebox, and it's really funny to pick a cover band as your favorite band. But very much, it's just the amount of content they've put out. Like they were putting out something for nearly every week for 5 or 6 years. So their catalog is huge. And I'm wearing my old fashioned girl t-shirt. We go to the concert, my best friend and I, like every year. It's PMJ. We go behind the scenes and meet people. Mike knows, I've shown in the videos of like us hanging out with the people. So I just think taking modern songs and putting that retro vintage flair and just the absolute craftsmanship and musicianship that goes into it. So if you haven't ever seen Creep by Post Malone Jukebox with vocals by Haley Reinhart, it is life-changing. It will hook you. It is amazing. But I also have this other theory going on that the music you loved between the ages of 14 and 16, that's what sticks with you. Because that's your formative years. Those are the years you were changing. So I was very fortunate. Morning, everyone. My 14 to 16 years is like 2004 to 2006. So even still on, like, I'll probably pull out an iPod Nano and it'll be full with Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, My Chemical Romance, and like all those major albums that came out during that time, The Scene. Love it. So that is still what is probably my most all-time favorite bands, my most played things. So yeah, if you come on today, test my theory, please. Like, is the bands that you loved between the ages of 14 and 16 still your most favorite band? Mike, we have someone behind the scenes. Who have we got?
We got Jack.
Hey, Jack.
You're muted, Jack. You've already failed.
Oh, I'm muted. Whoops.
There you go.
Hey,
How you
love.
doing? Oh, I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good. Who is your favorite band and why? You had a very emphatic response on our Facebook page. So I've been really keen where this is going to go.
So, I don't get to talk a lot about my bonkers music opinions. I mostly talk about my batshit insane movie opinions. But when I get to talk about my music opinions, it's really fun. Because, again, this is a band that I discovered between the ages of like 14, 16, somewhere in there. Like really got into. I had heard a few songs by them on like 90s on 9, like the Sirius XM radio station. But when around that time, I listened to 10 by Pearl Jam, their debut album.
Yeah.
Fucking incredible album. Every single song on that album is just fantastic. Starting from Once all the way down to Release, it's just perfect. Pearl Jam, like, a lot of my love for Pearl Jam comes from the fact that when I'm listening to a song, I really like when it's telling a story. Like there's like some kind of a story behind the song, and you've got songs like Alive, Jeremy, Why Go on there, and I listen to Verses and Vitology, which just a great run of 3 albums back to back to back. Hell yes, Nazario. Yeah, it's just a fantastic run of albums, and Eddie Vedder's voice, good God.
There it is.
I love his voice so much. I get made fun of so much. But even some of their even their covers, like Last Kiss, is perfect. I love that cover.
Yeah, when you're talking about storytelling, I'm like, they can even choose the right songs that they want to cover, because then I was thinking Last Kiss is so good. And I was going to say it if you didn't bring it up, like Eddie Vedder is like one of the most distinct voices in rock history. Like, it's just, you know a Pearl Jam song as soon as it starts. I'm very partial to Daughter, quite the lighter ones, so love that one as well. And then Even Flow will just always be burning my brain. If you bring up a song today that was on Guitar Hero 3, like, I'm going to have PTSD. So Even Flow is a big one as well. Mike, what do you think about Pearl Jam?
Oh, yeah. Pearl Jam is definitely one of the bands that was always on rotation on my playlist for sure. And yeah, Even Flow is the main song I go to.
That's fair. Even Flow is fantastic.
True. Oh, Jack, great choice this morning, honey. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jack.
Starting strong, always starting strong. If you haven't yet, click the link in the chat. But the chat's popping off already, Mike.
Yeah.
Like, we need to address Pearl Jam, crowd favorite already, it seems to be. Alec brought up Devin Townsend and Devin Townsend projects. So yes, he's been showing me a lot of that. For vocals, holy shit, it is transformative, like so good. What else have we had? Nazaro, the Pearl Jam as well. Brooklyn with the Fall Out Boy reference, which I dig. Mike, we've got people backstage. Who we got?
We got Dylan.
Hey, Dylan. How you doing, Dylan?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. It's been a while since I've been on, so.
Yes, nice to see you again. Who is your favorite band and why?
So I actually have a couple answers here because one I think is going to be way less popular. But first one, probably my favorite band I think of all time, if I had to guess, is Rage Against the Machine, just because it combines two of my favorite genres of all time, which is hip hop and rock. And not a lot of bands have been able to do that and make it actually good. Like Limp Bizkit obviously makes pretty garbage music in my opinion. And like they're like the only band that I think really made it work, and they blend like a lot of like really great social commentary in their music that's really well done and just absolute bangers. Like I remember I found their music in I think freshman year of high school, and it was very very formative experience for me. So yeah, it was a good time.
The theory's paying off. Again, the Guitar Hero 3 reference, like when you had Tom Morello, you could play Bills on Parade, so I am there. But obviously I'm killing in the name of such a huge anthem, really such a big song. Mike, what do you think about Rage Against the Machine? And then we'll circle back to your second choice because I am interested still.
Oh yeah, I enjoy some Rage Against the Machine. I haven't really dive deep into those stuff, but their main songs I've definitely listened to quite a few times.
Yeah.
And the less popular pick.
So that's my favorite band of all time. I'd say my favorite band right now is a band actually from out of Australia, which I want to recommend to people, called King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, which is a band that is very, very prolific. They're basically, if I had to categorize them as one genre, it's psychedelic rock. But they, with every single album, they like do it a different genre each time, while still having like that overall like psychedelic feel go through all their music. A lot of humor in their songs, a lot of also environmentalism, and just they're hyper prolific. Like I think one year they put out 5 albums and 3 of them were concept albums. Like they weren't half-assed. They're they make some of the most interesting music at the moment for me. And I highly recommend people checking them out.
A man of taste and culture on our show. Alan, I knew Alan would be like flipping out for that one. The Gears. That just made my morning so much. Absolutely, I know Alan's very into it, so I'm hearing things when I walk through the house. Absolutely, but thank you for that. That is great, Mike. Have you heard of it?
I have not heard of that.
But you will. You'll get onto it. We need to spread the word. Oh, Dylan, thank you for coming back and giving us your awesome choices tonight, Dylan.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dylan.
Hey. That has to be the most unexpected answer I've had on Late Shift so far, and I live for it. That is so good. It's Australian. I'm like, where is this going? Have we had any comments? Come on, I missed a few of the comments. I want to shout out Jason's Villa 400 unit. Amazing rock and just maybe even be there for taking cinnamon from concert twice. Nice. Oh, also, when Dylan brought up mashing hip hop and rock, I was thinking the other day, like, just what an absolute moment in time the Jay-Z Linkin Park mashup was for Numb. Like, I remember that just being everywhere. So I think that is like one of the only times it's somewhat been successfully done on like a really large scale, maybe not as a band, but there we go. Brooklyn's got me. Collision course. And Brooklyn being able to play Bulls on Parade without looking at the TV. So I agree with that. That had really great notes for that song. That would have great. Hey, yes, yes. Mike, who have we got? We've got some amazing people. Let's go.
We got Melissa.
We got Melissa.
Hello.
How you doing, darling?
I'm a little under the weather, but I still wanted to hop on to say hello and say my pick, which you might see what the answer is.
Who is your favorite band and why?
So my favorite band is Pink Floyd, which I know on your episode you talked about that it's the most overrated act.
I couldn't believe that. I'm like, oh god.
But they're definitely my favorite band of all time. I actually brought some supplies tonight of some different things because I realized on my set list episode I didn't bring any props. So I have the Pink Floyd Rolling Stone edition, of course. I have this like giant Pink Floyd revealed hardcover book. And then obnoxiously I have 3 vinyls. This is my dad's original from 1973. And then I had this one that came with some cool posters, and then I have this one that's not opened. It's very obnoxious, so I don't need any more Dark Side of the Moon vinyls.
I don't know. I think you do. You need like one to play, like one for travel. Like you can have multiple copies. I think that's okay. Different covers, like different editions and things like that.
Yeah, but yeah, they're my favorite band because I grew up with them, and your theory is correct. I mean, in high school, I listened to Pink Floyd every day, like in high school, like nonstop. So your theory is correct. And it definitely helped me through some really difficult times in my life. So it will always hold a special place in my heart. And they're forever my favorite band.
Are there a few songs in particular that make it your favorite band, like that you keep drawing back to?
For me, I think a reason why I love them so much is like I love that they have like such good albums. But of course, I mean, I have favorites of their songs, but like Dark Side of the Moon, absolutely love. The Wall, absolutely love. Metal, love that album. Wish You Were Here. Animals, like just they have such good albums, which like you were talking about earlier with like CDs, and that's something I kind of miss. And I actually like the whole thing, not just like pick and choose, which is kind of what happens now with music for me.
Yeah. I was having the exact same theory because when I was trying to pick my favorite band, I'm like, well, it's still probably going to be Fall Out Boy or Weezer or something because they have singular albums that I will sit through the whole way through and not feel the need to skip once. And I find that just such a rare quality nowadays. So I agree. Oh, and Wish You Were Here, I think, is like a perfect song. Like, it's beautiful. Yeah. Mike, what do you think about Pink Floyd?
Oh, yeah, I really enjoyed Pink Floyd, especially the Wall album. That's one album that was brought up a lot in my childhood and throughout my high school years and on.
And the movie's awesome, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to movie to go with it, double points.
Yes.
Melissa, thank you so much for coming on and giving us your answer tonight.
Thank you, Melissa.
Love it. Your comment section are awful. You know that, boys. Shocking. But I did. As soon as I said, when Brooklyn and I stopped filming my set list episode, he's like, you know, Melissa loves Pink Floyd. I'm like, oh god, here we go. We love having you in the comments bar. So if it's always the way, if you can't be on our show, just be in our comments because we love the comments. We love the interaction. Usually when the comments is popping off, like builds my excitement a little bit. I love it. Makes my voice go a bit higher. Mike, who do we have? Are they ready?
I honestly don't know if they're human or not, but we shall find out. We got Joseph.
Hi.
What are we playing? Is it Mario Kart Wii?
Yeah, it's Mario Kart Wii.
And who is our character?
Baby Daisy.
Interesting choice. And what kind of kart are we playing with?
Sorry?
Which kind of car? Kart, or bike?
Oh, it's balloon battle on a bike.
Very nice. Very nice. But not the answers I was looking for today. Interesting. Who was your favorite band and why, Joseph?
So I've been exploring different bands that so This is kind of tricky for me because there are different genres that I like a lot, and I like to explore different bands and their albums. And there are a couple that I really have enjoyed over the past several months, maybe a few years now, listening to them. Some are Mumford and Sons and Survivor, but one that has always been a favorite of mine that I've always loved to hear since since I was in like teenage years, young adult years, was Journey. Was
Nice.
The song "Don't Stop Believin'" is the song that got me into the band, but hearing more of their songs, I feel like there are just other songs that need more attention and that I kind of like more than "Don't Stop Believin'." Not that "Don't Stop Believin'" is a bad song, but I love the all the instrumentation and the heavy beat of the song "Separate Ways" that they did also.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even though the music video is a little cheesy, but we don't have to talk about that right now. But I also think their power ballads for "Faithfully" and "When You Love a Woman" are amazing also. And they just have just straight up catchy tunes like "Any Way You Want It" or "Only the Young," and that's one of my go-to bands to listen to.
Oh, I love this. As a fan of the OC, like Ryan would be very happy. Like, don't disrespect Journey. Because it became like a little bit of a joke for a little bit coming out of the 80s, but I think it's turned around to be like an absolute karaoke classic. Glee brought it back and things like that. So I like that like a newer generation is finding an appreciation for it. So I love it. I love anything big, bombastic, the 80s. Faithfully of the ones you've mentioned is like quite high rotation on my Spotify list. That's just got something that hits, and anything like with the big whoa chorus is good in my book.
Steve Perry's voice is awesome.
Oh,
yep, yes,
very
Brooklyn.
true.
Yep, I noticed that when it's the only song, it's the only movie that I know that has that song. So like, I don't know, maybe it gets a little bit of more respect from me for that.
Mike, what are your thoughts on Jenny?
Oh yeah, I love me some Journey. "Don't Stop Believin'" and "Wheel in the Sky." Both great songs. I enjoy the hell out of them.
Brilliant. Oh, Joseph, thank you for coming on, and hope you win your balloon battle.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
Finally. The theory is paying off because I was driving home this morning and I'm like, this isn't going to like crash and burn because I'm putting it out in the universe and people are just going to turn around and go, Kelly, you dumb bitch. Like, no. Like, but I'm glad to see it's happening. Now, interesting conversation in the comments about Radiohead. Yes, I think what Radiohead album you love is like the BuzzFeed personality quiz almost. Like it's very telling of who you sort of are. So I'd say like my favorite song from Radiohead's "Fake Plastic Trees." So I tend to like the Benzish era, those sorts of ones. So yeah, and that's another one that you do have to listen to as an album. So I think if someone else wants to come on and talk about Radiohead, even if you've been on and want to come back and talk about it, you might be a bit more from a place as big so than I. So I would love to hear that. But Mike, who we got?
We got Brooklyn.
We got Brooklyn. How you doing? It's our turn to ask you who your favorite band is.
Yeah, I was so
Twins.
fucking jazzed to hear this question come up. It was just thinking back of like whenever I had first started like Jukebox Trivia and like kind of having like the little wing of music in this league, and then to kind of see it come back. It's always nice to contribute. But this is a surprisingly tough question because I could interpret this multiple ways. I could have interpreted this as most influential. In that case, I have to go Bare Naked Ladies, just because of how a lot of their 90s singles came up. I could have interpreted this as favorite live band. Then I would go to July Talk. They're like a blues rock band from Canada as well. That they just have they have a male and female singer, and they have a nice back and forth. But if we're talking about just people that I go back to all the time, at least once a year, their entire discography, I have to go with somebody that I have on vinyl a lot of, and that's the Foo Fighters. I'm actually seeing them 2 weeks from today. I see them for their first show since Taylor died in Boston. But I have an interesting kind of history with them because like growing up, I didn't really catch on to them until I think the 14 to 16 era is correct, because I would say it was like grade 9 or grade 10. Because like middle school, I had known of them beforehand with like Learning to Fly, like knew of them to hear them, but didn't follow them. Then the Pretender music video comes out, and it's like, okay, I have to follow these guys, because I think that album as well, Echoes, Time, Patience, and Grace, is fucking incredible. But then it was actually a few albums later. This would have been like 2015. Sonic Highways, which is like a concept album, because they had done it in a bunch of different cities and whatnot, and it has like this kind of like underlying like Christian rock vibe. And I used to be a good Catholic Christian church boy, and I really kind of dug those themes. But then it was just nice to go back and like kind of fall in love again with like Wasting Light. Like Wasting Light is my favorite of their records. There is really like only one like kind of B+ song, but everything else on it is A+. My favorite track on it is probably Dear Rosemary. It's a nice little duet that he has with what's his name? It's a lead singer of it's like one of his mentors. I'm gonna look this up right quick. It was Bob Mould from Husker Du. That would be a big one to check out. But then, like, in terms of Wasting Light, the other ones that I would shout out from that one are Rope, Bridge Burning. I think is one of the greatest openers, and that's one of their strengths, is that they have good openers for their records. But then you look at what they've put out recently with Medicine at Midnight. Making a Fire, I think, is one of the great. Like, I think it was just such a nice resurgence that they had. And it shows that their songwriting is still as deep as it is. Like, I think Making a Fire is such a motivational song, and it's able to lift you up in such an awesome way. And that they're still putting out records today. Like Rescuer came out, and they're having this new album. Also, because I need to shout out Jack Pinchuk's comment, because incredible band. If I have to rank the songs that he has here, Wheat Kings is my favorite, followed by Grace 2, Bob Cajun, Ahead by a Century, and then New Orleans is Sinking. But that's another incredible like alt rock band to go check out.
I was very fortunate. Like I think it was in 2018-ish. Foo Fighters came to Australia, and their opening act was Weezer. So that was just like a dream double feature. That was a really great few hours of my life right there. But you're right, and like I think I'm a bit more of a basic bitch. I love the mid-90s stuff, so like Everlong acoustic cover will be like in my top 100 songs, easy. Probably one of the most played on my Spotify playlist, easy. But Mike, what are your thoughts on Foo Fighters?
Yeah, I'm the same with Kelly, where 90s Foo Fighters was where I leaned to. But I kind of stopped listening to them in like the 2000s. But then when the movie came out, it got me back on the train with them. Yeah. Which I love the movie.
What a perfect like B horror movie.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, thank you so much for coming on and giving us your answer tonight, darling.
Thank you, Brooklyn.
Oh, that's great. And I think the point about like being a band that's had like really great longevity, like still putting out really great stuff. When we went to the show, I hadn't heard the new album yet, but I heard like The Sky's Neighborhood. I'm like, oh, this is still just like amazing. So loved that one. Mike, who do we have that's waiting backstage ever so patiently?
We got Bill.
How's it going?
It's going good. How you going tonight, darling?
I am also a little under the weather. A lot of travel in the last 2 weeks has left me with a bit of a sinus infection, but I'm doing okay. How are you guys doing?
Oh, good. I'm just so happy to have you here. And who is your favorite band and why? How did you narrow it down?
Oh, favorite band? Shit. I thought this was worst bands. I have an 8-page diatribe on why Limp Bizkit's worse than cancer, but it's fine.
Wait, pause everything. Let's go.
No, but for real, there's a great. Actually, hold on. I took a photo because I wanted to remember this. So there's a great quote from I think it's like the bass player, the guitarist from Rage Against the Machine, because Limp Bizkit always like put them up as like, oh, Rage Against the Machine is the band that inspired us. Tom Comerford in Rolling Stone in 2015, legit quote. I don't want to read it out loud. I do apologize for Limp Bizkit. I really do. I feel really bad we inspired such bullshit. So, which is just, and you got to remember, like, they're the worst. But anyway, I'm sorry. Any excuse to dunk on that asshole. It's fine. It's great. So, favorite band of all time. So, little bit of a spoiler. I talked about this extensively. I think it was yesterday on an episode of the set list on this buyer shit. It's on the channel here. I'm contractually obligated now that I work here. And they had me on. Apparently, people wanted to hear my opinions on things, which always blows my mind. But my favorite band of all time, clearly, it's the Descendants. So, if you know anything about me, punk rock is like my favorite genre. I think it's the one I really, truly fell in love with after hip hop as like a teenager. And it was like right band, right moment in time, like for me discovering them. And the first album I ever got of theirs, I dubbed a copy of a tape from a guy I worked at a comic book store with. Like, he was a customer. Let me a copy of Milo Goes to College, and I was like, "What the hell?" It sounded unlike anything I've ever heard. And the album is like 20 minutes. It's like 16 songs, and I'm like, and every one of them, I'm like, Jesus, Lord in heaven, I've never heard such insanity, because the songs will be very like. And the thing with why I love them is like I kind of related to the band a bit, because like these guys were, I mean, they were like punk rock, but they were also like angry, bitter nerds. But there was like a vulnerability in a lot of their songs. Like the opening song, "My Age," is about a guy that's like, he's into this girl and it's like, she doesn't need me. She doesn't need anybody. Maybe one day, I don't know. And that's like a lot of the stuff that they would do. And then they would turn around and write a song like "I Like Food." And that's literally it for 15 seconds. And it's just, that's all they do. And then it's like, okay, now we're going to do like a fun one. We're going to like be a little smarmy. We're going to write Suburban Home and make fun of people out in the suburbs. Now I'm going to write a song called I Want to Be a Bear and I Want to Shit in the Woods. So, and then they write a song like Hope, which has been covered by I don't know how many people. I know like Sublime put it on 40 Ounces of Freedom. A cover of that is on there. And like a lot of other bands, like that is like that and Bikeage are the two like go-to songs. And then from there, as I literally scoured for anything that band has ever put out, I have some kind of copy of it somewhere. And then like, so when I got into them, they were already not a band anymore. So I didn't get to appreciate it until 1996. They come back, they do a big reunion. I've seen them live like 12 times, and it's just a joy every time. So, and they still occasionally put out the occasional album, do the occasional tour. So it's kind of nice, but yeah, it is such a good time. I thoroughly enjoy it. And I did mention this on the set list, is there is a documentary about them. I think it might still be on Amazon Prime, called Filmage. And it's all about the career of them and also the band that they, so the lead singer went to college and became like, he's like a chemical engineer. He's like super wicked smart and then writes songs about farts. I don't know how it works either. It's just how it is. And then, so they formed the same band, just got together with a different singer. They were called All, and they put out like another 10, 20 records. So it's like in the in-between years when the Descendants are doing it, some All's kind of getting together, and they've had a few different singers, but it's still just like fantastic. And Dave Grohl is a big fan of theirs, and he talks extensively about how Milo Goes to College, because it was released in like 1980, and he was like, if this album had to come out 15 years later, these guys would be millionaires living in mansions, and that is just the unfair reality of life. Yeah, so it's fantastic.
I think that's a really good point. Like, this is like some of that early groundbreaking sort of stuff that gets appreciated later, not in its time. Absolutely, like those punk rock staples of like short, fast, loud fun. Like that is what we tend to.
And like these guys are coming out singing about girls and food in a time when Black Flag and Ragged Youth and Angry Samoans and Suicidal Tendencies, and they're here, these SoCal dorks, and I just love it. So a little bit about me as a human being.
I love it, Mike. What do you think about the Descendants?
Do not. I honestly don't think I've heard one of their songs.
I will bet you money you probably have and didn't realize it. Have you ever seen Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater?
Yeah, when I was a kid, yes.
So there's a scene where he famously plays the song Der Wiener Schnitzel, which is 10 seconds long, and it's literally a guy ordering food through a drive-thru. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life, and I love every minute of it. I think one of their songs was on Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I know it was on the American Wasteland soundtrack, and I forget the band. I think it was like Fallout Boy or some horse shit band like that, but they ended up covering like 2 of their songs for it. I was like, okay, sure. So you might have heard some of it here and there.
That is probably true, yeah.
Yeah. And I know for sure Sublime did Hope, and I was just like, okay, sure. Why not? So also to piggyback off Jack's comment, the greatest Canadian band is the Dayglow Abortions. This is not a topic for debate. So I would recommend Fetus to Fetus, which is their debut album, which is also really great. And also the famous Here Today, Guano Tomorrow is also good. And Little Man in the Boat. So those are all great records. All 3 of them.
Oh, love it, Bill. Thank you for coming on and giving us a chance. I hope you feel better soon, sweetie.
I got a Z-Pack. I'm drinking some chamomile. It's a good time. So I'm going to go back to playing the new Zelda. And,
hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to play it once Beyonce goes to sleep because I'm not allowed to touch it while she's playing it. So. I know my place. It's okay. So I love her. I do. I really love her. All right.
Thank you, Bill.
I meant to say at the top of the show, it's like, if you're not here tonight and you're catching us on the replay, this might be the one show I'm okay with that, because if you were playing Tears of the Kingdom, and it's Tears of the Kingdom Day, more power to you. Yesterday my mum drove down my street to pick me up, honking the horn, and we jumped in the car and just chanted, Zelda, 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 as we ran into the shops, arm in arm, skipping to go pick up our copy, and then we played all day yesterday, and it was amazing. So, yes, after this, that's what I'll be doing as well. If you haven't jumped on yet and you're in the comments and you're able to, please click our link, jump on. I'm very happy my theory is paying out. Yeah. It's very interesting. Alan, I'm very surprised didn't come on and shit all over it, because I'm pretty sure he's like the outlier. He's like, no, I found all this later on. Well, fair. But Mike, I want to jump off one of the things you said at the start of the show about road trips. And about how you had cassette tapes. My living would be Alice Cooper, music and theatre. Good choice. But in Cooper's macabre way. Lovely pick. About road trips and cassettes and things like that, because, and Melissa brought up like just growing up hearing Pink Floyd in the house, because I think that's really important as well, as like what we hear growing up, what our parents or our family or our closest friends, brothers, sisters, like all the other people's influence on our own musical taste. So like growing up, we had a 15-hour drive up and down the coast, and so we would always play Simon and Garfunkel, like the double CD of all their greatest hits. Fleetwood Mac Rumours, like that's another one I feel like I can know the track list off. Things like that. Queen I talked about before, but just those CDs or those cassettes. Oh God, Mum's not watching live. The one time I need Jane, she'll tell me like what cassettes we had. Mum loved like British pop, a lot of 60s, 70s stuff. So I think we had ABBA and Herman's Hermits and just all those sorts of bands on cassette, whereas Dad loved like a lot of the 70s and rock and Elton John. We had a lot of anything very heavily piano based. Simon and Garfunkel. So that's all good. Oh, Talking Heads has not been brought up. Absolutely. And again, double points if you have a movie for your band.
Yeah.
If you have a badass documentary about your band, even better. Oh yeah, Joseph brought up Mumford & Sons. I love that early 2010s. We got a lot of that, like that folk rock coming through, because it's always interesting to see who grew up in what time, because what was really prolific at that moment, genre-wise, because everything tends to come in waves, you know.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting to see. But is there any other ones like you grew up listening to that you really loved, apart from
Queen? Like Aerosmith, Rolling Stones, Red Hot Chili Peppers, for sure. Those were the Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Those mainly.
Now, one other thing in the room, because the other thing I was going to bring up at the top of the show that I didn't. I listened to a podcast one time with a classic rock historian, and he said the actual full title for the question of who was your favorite band is, apart from the Beatles, who is your favorite band and why? And that's always stuck with me. I've heard that like 10 years ago, and I still think about that because, again, I think that's really funny that that's one no one's brought up because it tends to be the worldwide global answer of who is the best band. Beatles is going to be up there, even if it's not your personal number one. I think that will just always be recognized as
well, that's why we did favorite and not best.
And that's why we did favorite.
Yeah.
I love favorites.
To go through that, yeah.
But even still, the Beatles are still one of my favorite bands. Like, it's just so hard not to diminish just the absolute influence that they have on the music world, just that stamp in history. And what I love about the Beatles in particular, and we have this conversation in chats every now and again, is that everyone tends to have a different era that they really vibe with. So do you really love like the early Please Please Me era and like a lot of the light poppy I Want to Hold Your Hand stuff, or do you like what they were doing in like experimental era sort of things? Are you a Revolver person? Are you a Rubber Bullet sort of person? Or are you what they're putting out at the end, like rooftop concert sort of era? So I love that about the Beatles. I tend to go Abbey Road, White Album, somewhere around that area. But yeah, so I'm a Muffin Sons, yeah. Hopeless Wanderer I brought up for one of my favorite music videos. If you have not seen the Hopeless Wanderer music video, it is dynamite. It is so good. That might do us for the show.
Not yet. We got two people. Jake sent me in something that I gotta read, and then we'll end it with one person who sent in a video.
Yes, go for it.
So Jake sent this long ass message. So let's go.
You got to deliver it properly, Mike. Deliver it like Jake.
I cannot. Hi, Mike and Kelly. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be on for this week's late shift. I've been working mornings for the last month, hence why I wasn't on last time. For my favorite band, it's a bit of a toss-up. I love bands like Underworld, Guns N' Roses, and some Aussie bands like Icehouse and Killin' Heidi. But my number one favorite band has to be Talking Heads. I love the eccentricities David Byrne brings to his music, especially through songs like Psycho Killer and my favorite Head song, And She Was. They have many classics like Burning Down the House, Once in a Lifetime, and Road to Nowhere. I also love the concert film Stop Making Sense, but we get to see the band's incredible energy in a live setting, which really adds how unique and spectacular they are. Also, watching Spider-Man No Way Home and seeing an underrated song of theirs like Eyes and Blood during the first 5 minutes was awesome. So that's my answer. My favorite band is Talking Heads. Thanks, guys. Hope to be on the next one, if not working. And then he sent me another message right after saying, addendum. My favorite Talking Heads album would probably be Fear of Music from 1979. There's very chaotic pacing in each song. They have underrated bangers like Cities and Life during wartime. The latter especially is so much fun to listen to.
An absolute A+ answer. That is 100 out of 100 mark. Full marks to Jake. That is awesome. And again, bringing up like the concert film, even better. I love that answer because that's a good one as well for like what we find. You find different songs along the way with Talking Heads, I feel like. So you may be introduced to maybe Burning Down the House or Once in a Lifetime, but then you find like, I love that he brought up Spider-Man No Way Home because when I watched Lars and the Real Girl, that's when I fell in love with This Must Be the Place. So even just as movie lovers, when we get to pick out those little different songs that other people have inspiration from and have put it in their soundtrack, I love when that happens. So that one, and Road to Nowhere is my mum's driving song. We'll chuck that on and we are happy. We're going shopping, we're doing whatever we need to do, but the absolute shout out to my mum for that one. Mike, show us the clip.
Okay, so before we leave, we had one co-host of 500 Stones and the set list on. The other one could not be here tonight, but he sent in a video, so we will play that right now. Let me find it. Here we go.
The name of this band is Talking Heads. I discovered Talking Heads when I was in high school after listening to Once in a Lifetime and Burning Down the House, and just being immediately in awe of this band. It's made out of David Byrne, who is the lead singer and guitarist. Then there is Jerry Harrison, who's also on guitar, Chris France, the drummer, and Tina Weymouth, the bassist. And they have a weird blend of like art rock and post-punk and world music that they all blend together to create these sonically fascinating songs. Along with the ones I had mentioned before, there's like Psycho Killer, Life During Wartime, and She Was, and just like a plethora of other like fantastic songs. I want to talk about Tina Weymouth in particular. She may not be the most technically proficient bassist. Like she's not going to do like a crazy like Yes kind of solo, but man, the grooves and the melodies that she was able to create are amazing and instantly recognizable. She's my favorite bassist of all time. And they're just an amazing live band. It's just a shame that they never will perform with each other again, considering the tension in the group. But if you watch Stop Making Sense, their concert film directed by Jonathan Demme, it's incredible. And then there are albums such as Stop Making Sense album, Remain in Light, where they played with a little bit more experimentalism with Brian Eno, with like looping and things like that. They're just an amazing band, wildly creative, and just find these amazing melodies and grooves that just stick with you. So enjoy the rest of the episode, guys. Thank you for letting me talk about my favorite band.
This is what happens when I do not watch the video first. Otherwise, I would have put that below to make sure that we didn't have it both at the same time.
Mike says to me, he's like, I got a clip from Bar and we're gonna watch it. I'm like, yep, I want to be surprised. I want it to be like we're actually on the episode. Like, I don't want to see it beforehand. I want to know. That is just too pure. That was amazing. Bar, thank you so much for sending that in, darling, and taking the time to show that. That was brilliant. I loved your explanation of that. Yes, Talking Heads crowd favorite of the late shift tonight. Guys, thank you for coming on tonight. Like, it's always really fun when a topic just seems to resonate with a lot of people and you guys want to come on and share. This is what makes our shows, when you guys get excited and want to come on and share your stories with us and jump on the chat and interact with us. Like, we really just have so much fun when you guys are here. So thank you very much. Mike, is there anything else you want to say?
Just go watch the set list and Off the Stones for sure. They're doing kick-ass things. Go watch Why We Love Horror. We just put out the new episode of Phantasm Mortuary Collection, which is awesome. Go watch Cinemasters reviews. They're doing good shit. Movies on My Life. Maxwell was just on.
Such a good episode.
Great episode. Go watch that for sure. And yeah, we got TOU going to be coming up pretty soon. So if you guys have been excited for matches, I know they've been recording the shit out of that. So there's a lot to be brought up with that. So yeah, make sure to check out all that. And yeah, that's all from me.
Thank you, everyone. See you in a fortnight.
Bye.
And we're clear.